Wow, it's almost crazy this game came out 11 years ago. In 2010, Sega released Sonic Colors, an essential response game to go out and address all the criticisms that Sonic faced against many of his critics. You only played as Sonic. Characters were kept down to a handful rather than the abundance of characters Sonic had before. Plots were much more simpler in Sonic Colors, and Sonic's character was reworked, alongside the whole cast being recasted, besides Mike Pollock as Dr. Eggman. And the critics loved this game, even though they started off their whole spiel about reviewing Sonic Colors. Let's face it, Sonic hasn't had a good transition into 3D. Though over time, it does seem like people have come out and have criticized this game for a multitude of things. Though namely, that this is the game that started off the quote-unquote meta era. I'm not really going to go out and talk about the meta era specifically. If you guys want to learn more about the meta era, I have some videos linked down below so you guys can take a look if you're mildly interested of why this is called as such. Fast forward to 2021, Sega has brought on Blind Squirrel Entertainment to bring Sonic Colors to modern platforms under the title of Sonic Colors Ultimate. An obvious way to get this game to brand new people to try this game out, seeing how the Nintendo Wii is now a dead platform now, and making some changes here and there alongside some quality of life features for the game itself. So for today, we're going to ask some few questions. Number one, is this game really ultimate as a standalone product? What I mean by that is that, how does this game stack up as a standalone title in terms of quality? Number two, how does it compare when we compare it to the original Wii release? Because obviously it needs to be better than the Wii release itself. And finally, and I think most importantly to me, how does this game stack up to emulation? Because obviously people have that free option, and you want to go on and convince people that, hey, the free option is worse. Go on and buy our product because it is going to be a better experience than getting it for free. So, without further ado, let's finally talk about Sonic Colors Ultimate. I think the first thing that most people want to talk about in regards to a remake or remaster is how much better does the game look. So when speaking about those graphics, there's definitely a lot of work that was made to rework the game essentially on a graphical standpoint. Some textures were redone, the lighting has been completely reworked. For example, places like Tropical Resort are much darker in comparison to the original, while places like Starlight Carnival are much bright. Kind of weird when it comes down to it when you see this 9-day difference when you look at certain areas of how overly dark things can be or how overly bright it can be as well. I guess in some cases you can make the argument that it's an artistic direction. It's definitely a subjective matter when you take a look at the graphics themselves. And when you compare it to the original Wii release at 480p at 30 frames per second, yeah, it definitely looks a lot better in comparison because we have a higher frame rate now and we have a higher resolution on top of that. So things definitely look way better. But when you compare it to Dolphin and the fact that Dolphin can increase internal resolutions and add in these hacks like a higher FPS, yeah, that's when the comparisons become a little bit more close, that whether or not one looks better or the other. In my personal opinion, I think Sweet Mountain looks a lot better compared to the original Wii release. I also think that as well for Planet Wisp, and I also think Astray Closer looks better than the original as well. Like I said, it's all subjective when it comes down to it, and that's kind of unfortunate seeing how this is a remake. You kind of want it to look objectively better than the original release, or hell, even emulation, but unfortunately we're here in this little situation where things look subjectively better rather than objectively better. But though one thing I can say that's objective is frame rate. While Dolphin can go on and increase frame rates up to 60 FPS via mod hacks and what have you, sometimes in Colors via Dolphin, things can definitely lag a little bit. It's not too frequent, but it's definitely noticeable when you see it. And you need to go on and talk around some options to get the best experience. While Colors Ultimate, you're playing this on PC and you have a nice high refresh monitor like I do, you can actually get this game running at 144 FPS. There are some dips here and there that I've noticed, but not by much. And yeah, in terms of the PC version, that's definitely a 0.2 Ultimate, that you can get this game running higher than 60 FPS. But we're talking about something that's completely a mixed bag. That would be the presentation. There seems to be an obvious clash when it comes down to UI elements, where carryovers from the original game still look alright, while the new UI elements like the rival race and what have you, they just look cheap as hell. Like, look at this right here. It literally looks like a mobile ad or one of those ad spams that you saw back in the early 2000s. And the cutscenes still fare any better. These are AI upscaled cutscenes from the original pre-rendered Wii version. Yeah, the 480p, very blocky when you look at it on an HD TV screen. Yeah, those cutscenes right there. It's obvious that they did a terrible job in regards to upscaling these to a better presentation. As you can see, a lot of shimmering when things are moving around. It just looks nasty. And on top of that, because of the fact that these are just AI upscaled cutscenes and there's a different graphical presentation when it comes down to the graphics, it definitely clashes with one another, much like the UI elements. it just looks unnatural when it comes down to it. It takes you out of the game when you're playing through it. To make things worse, data miners found the original animations that were not pre-rendered themselves, telling you that they could have remade it, but they were lazy, they didn't want to do it. Yeah, we need to get this out for a quick buck. And of course, we cannot forget about the options menu where this thing lags like a motherfucker anytime you go out and switch certain options and such. It really tells you a lot about this port. And if we're talking about mixed bags, the music and sound effects are also mixed bags as well. In the original Colors release, there were 6 acts in each world, and there were 3 songs in total, meaning that 1 song played in 2 of the acts. In Ultimate though, brand new remixes were made, specifically 3 new remixes were made for each world, meaning that each act now has its own song. And the remixes are a bit of a mixed bag. Let's start with the remixes I generally thought were good. I thought Planet Wisp was pretty good. The boss battle music in Tropical Resort and in Planet Wisp were also fantastic. And I thought Terminal Velocity was the final act was really great as well. But let's talk about the ones that I really did not like. The regular acts in Tropical Resort are really not that good. They add in extra instruments into the mixes of Tropical Resort that distract more than enhance the experience itself. Dear God, the remix is the Sweet Mountain. It's like someone put their ass onto a keyboard and thought that would be a great way to remix the song itself. And before I forget, you can't toggle the original songs. You're forced to have the remixes. And there are some songs that are completely missing from this version right here. I thought this was supposed to be Ultimate. Reach for the Stars, Speak With Your Heart, Terminal Velocity, the boss battle music, yeah, you can't switch to the original songs. Yeah, no option right there. And I thought for something to be Ultimate, you can have the option to switch to the original stuff, right? It really makes no sense to me right there that they chose not to include an option for just the original music. But something that's not a mixed bag, but just even worse, is the sound mixing. As much like Sonic Adventure 2 on later ports, there's terrible sound mixing here in Colors Ultimate. Some sound effects are way too loud than before, some of them just almost ear-grating loud, like the final act of Asteroid Coaster. And to make things all worse, in terms of the audio options, they put the music and sound effects options into one toggle. Like, how did someone think this was okay? Who was the bandit who thought that, yeah, we could put the music and sound effect and audio back in one little toggle right here. Yeah, people won't have a problem with the sound effects when they're this ear-grating bad. Who thought this was okay? And don't worry, I haven't forgotten about the biggest issue with the audio. I'm just saving it for later. Now on to the changes and additions made to the game. Let's start with the additions first. Well, the first one being relatively small. There's now a perfect homing attack system. Anytime when you homing attack and there's a green circle around the homing reticle, you'll perform a perfect homing shot. And when executed, you'll gain some extra boost, and this is definitely a nice addition right here, seeing how when it comes down to the original Sonic Colors, one of the general criticisms dedicated towards Sonic Colors original on Wii was when you found Wisp Castles for boost and which enemies had boost. While here with the perfect homing shot, definitely makes things a little bit more easier to go on, do that, and gain more boost, and be on your way. Another new addition is the Jade or Ghost Wisp. This is a brand new Wisp power-up right here where when Sonic uses the Wisp, Sonic will go through walls, homing on to these little dots right here. green dot, I guess. And there are areas that only the Jade Ghost Whip can go through. And they're interesting areas to explore around, but nothing too much crazy when you think about it. And one change that was made was that certain red rings were removed to essentially accommodate to make the Jade Wisp look more useful when it comes down to it. And this is something I'm not a fan of. Number one, I get it, we have a brand new Wisp, we need to get people to start using this Wisp more. And I'm not a fan of that. I don't like the fact when developers go out and try to force you to use the new feature in their new version of the game, essentially fucking up your memory when it comes down to remembering how these levels played out. Yeah, definitely not a fan in my opinion. But one thing I'm actually a fan of is the brand new rival races. In order to gain access to the rival race, you need to collect 15 red rings in each of the worlds in order to face Metal Sonic in one of the acts, and I actually do like these. They actually provide a lot of great challenge as Metal Sonic can actually use some of the shortcuts in the levels, and it's not overly too piss easy. There are some times, yeah, I managed to beat the level in one go, but there's some times where I actually did lose against Metal Sonic and I had to go on and retry again. It definitely puts a lot of challenge and gets you on your feet when playing through these levels, and definitely a challenge I do thoroughly enjoy. So when beating rival races and winning against Metal Sonic will reward you with brand new customable items to use and park tokens, which leads us to the brand new addition to the game. Each level is now plastered with these park tokens here that you can go on and collect, and you can use these to go on and buy new customable items in the options menu. You can customize from shoes, gloves, boost, and aura, and these nice little icons here. When pre-ordering the Digital Deluxe version, which is the one I got, you can gain access to these silver and gold gloves and shoes alongside Movie Sonic Boost and Aura. And throughout my whole adventure, I played through with the gold shoes and gloves alongside Movie Sonic's Boost and Aura. And I had the Skies of Arcadia icon as well. A nice touch in my opinion. Sorta wish there was Yakuza icons, but that's whatever. The one final addition to mention is of course the adjustable controls in the options menu. Though it wasn't as in-depth as I thought it could be, because one of the things I was wondering if I can change the control stick quick stepping to bumper quick stepping. But nope, you can't do that. It's all tied to the control stick, unfortunately. And in terms of the only things they allow you to change, well, you can change where the D-pad movements are, from base button changements, like putting boost on X and sliding on B, and changing the Wisp power up to any other face button. But now it's time to talk about some of the changes. Well, I already discussed the new placement of red rings to accommodate for the Ghost Wisp, but the biggest change of course is the Tails save. As of course lives have been completely removed from the game, and in place for extra lives would be instead of park token or these little Tails heads for tail saves. So when you die in a level, at times Tails will come out and save you. Not only do you keep your rings and your score, you also keep red rings as well. So it pretty much makes it a piss baby easy mode for the journalist. But do keep in mind, tail save is only really selective in particular areas. For example, in the end of one of the acts for Aquarium Park, tail save is not there at all. You have to go through that in one go in that final part. Or in Terminal Velocity, tail save is not there at all. So you have to go through all of Terminal Velocity in one go, and I fucking hate Terminal Velocity. But in some cases, I do think tail save is a little bit more convenient in cases like collecting for red rings, because sometimes red rings can be in these very hard places to grab, and if you die in there, you lose a red ring. And with tail save, that becomes a non-issue. But still, the biggest problem for me is the fact that there is no option to turn off tail save. Much like with the option of music, nah, you don't have that option right there. Go fuck yourself. We made this easy mode for the journalists, and you have to play the easy mode yourself as well. Yeah, definitely the ultimate version right here. Because of course, the ultimate version doesn't give you options. Hey everyone, before we go on to the glitches section of the video, I know people are going to ask this in the comments and all, because of course that's what Sonic fans do, and of course they're probably going to say this again even though they haven't watched the video yet. But yes, I am indeed aware about the PR manager saying that they have heard about the issues and they're going to release a patch for it. And while I'm about to say in this portion of the video, my arguments were that it still wasn't okay to release the game as it is, regardless of a patch, because they should know better that releasing the way it did was not a good idea. But anyways, here is this note over, you guys enjoy the rest of the video. But of course we're not done yet, because it's the biggest thing that everyone's talking about. All the damn glitches that you see in this damn game. Of course, the stable version being the PC version, which I happen to play. But even then, I still encounter glitches, and I would be remiss if I didn't talk about all the flaws in the other version, with the Switch version being the worst of them all, and the PS4 version, when played via PS5, corrupts your fucking save data. Yeah, you lose your save data if you play through the PlayStation 5. How about that? It's obvious this game did not go through the checks, and no one properly looked in this and said, yeah, that's okay right there. And that's not to say that the PC version has glitches, because it certainly does. Let's talk about those audio glitches. Yeah, I love hearing the music on one side of my ear than the other. And I love it when I use a Wisp power-up that I don't hear the music at all. Yeah, definitely love that shit right there. Love it when the music doesn't play at all, or the music continues playing when I'm going through the end of the level. And it's not just audio glitches. No, it's not just audio glitches. There's some graphical hiccups as well. Yeah, these pipes right here. Yeah, I definitely should be seeing the dirt through the pipes right there. And I definitely love it when pop-in's apparent. Yeah, those rings right there. Yeah, I definitely wanted to see them pop in right there. And also love it when I see textures trying to finish up when I'm going through Korean Park Act 1. Yeah. And also I love how the camera freaks out anytime I start using the Jade Ghost Wisp. It's not limited to just that weird snafus right there, because there's also gameplay stuff. I clipped through this area right here in Sweet Mountain, and I went to an area that I was not supposed to access. Perfect, 10 out of 10. And I had to force reset that game. And then when I was doing a Metal Sonic race in Planet Wisp, the game crashed on me. Yeah, clearly crashed on me. And then when I went on and tried it again and raced Metal Sonic, this area where I was supposed to get out of the Wisp power-up, no, didn't happen. I died constantly, and I had Metal Sonic go ahead of me just because I had to wait for the Wisp power-up to go off. Yeah, definitely a quality game right there. But really, how the fuck is this acceptable? Who was it at Sega that thought that, yeah, this is okay right here? And I don't fucking care if it's Blind Squirrels Entertainment's project right here and they ended up botching it. At the end of the day, the fuck ends with fucking Sega and Takashi Iizuka. They're the ones that essentially okayed it for this project to come out the way it is, and we have a buggy, unfinished product right here. And don't even get started with the whole Digital Deluxe early access shit right there. Don't you fucking dare, because we have proof right here where Sega had early access releases that ended up being quality, not this buggy piece of shit right here. At the end of the day, it pains me to say that Sonic Colors Ultimate is not Ultimate. With all the current bugs of the game, the presentation, and the lack of options to have, yeah, it definitely fails in a multitude of fronts. While I think some features like the perfect homing attack and the rival races are nice and all, it's not enough to say that this is a good replacement of Sonic Colors. If you were to go on and play Sonic Colors Ultimate, I would recommend the PC version, seeing how that's the least buggy version of the game. But at the end of the day, I'll just say go on and emulate it on Dolphin. You're going to get a better experience emulating this game over Colors Ultimate. And it's quite a shame because I didn't want to go in hating this game. And during my first play experience, I thought it was a fine experience. But when digging through more of this game and finding all the glitches and the fact that the console versions are as garbage as they are, yeah, this is inexcusable. This is not a good re-release of this game right here. It's garbage right here, and it's a shame that the game ended up this way. And it's even more of a shame that during this time of Sonic, most of the things have been crap, from Sonic Forces, Team Sonic Racing, with the online shit, and now here was Sonic Colors Ultimate. But yeah, ultimately, I am very disappointed in what has happened from this franchise. Well, time to go back and record some more Dragon Quest 2. God help me.